I've been invited on the Undateables 3 times but told them to get Lost Whales online. Community updates, crime statistics, local news events and much more. Francesca Antoniazzi was like any typical 20-something, working a 9-to-5 office job, going to the gym 5 times a week and going out with friends at the weekend. But on May 29, 2016, while on a night out, she fell and broke her back. She also fractured. It's a devastating change to the life of any 27-year-old. But Francesca, she can't remember much about what happened in the first 9 days she spent in hospital are still a blur. But she knew from the beginning. Obviously I was devastated, but at the same time I felt like I had no other choice but to accept it. What else can you do?
Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park,